Our next story takes us to Indianapolis, Indiana, where one local fireman led the fight to restore the city's oldest firehouse. And in the process, he and his fellow firemen have learned an added meaning of their motto, preserving the past, protecting the future.
Tom Hannafy has been an Indianapolis fireman for over 20 years. Though he always understood the protecting the future part of the firefighters' motto, it wasn't until the city's oldest remaining firehouse was about to be lost when he came to grips with what preserving the past was all about.
This building was one of four that were built approximately the same time in the early 1870s and was the only one standing, the only one left. So if we lost this firehouse, Old Station 2, it was gone forever, and there was none other like it in the city.
Tom's mission was clear. The 1870s firehouse had to be saved. But after decades of vacancy, there wasn't a lot left to work with.
It looked like a candidate for the wrecking ball. The facade was nothing as you see it now. The bell tower was completely missing. Overgrown, trash, vagrants had been in here, broken windows. It was in about as bad a condition as I think it could have been.
Tom and others rallied the local 416 Firefighters Union to restore the building as their headquarters. Since they were restoring such an important part of their heritage, they decided to also convert part of the building to a firefighters museum. They started with the crumbling facade.
This is the north end of the building. In this area, the brick was furthest out of alignment than anywhere else, the most damaging. The brick on this part of the building was actually a foot out of alignment. So we brought the contractors in, and we propped up the top parapet walls, took the brick down to the base, and then laid it right back up. And we were able to use the same kind of brick, or the same brick, and we're pretty happy with the result.
The firemen used original parts of the firehouse where possible during the restoration, but sometimes found themselves with nothing tangible to work with.
The third story of the bell tower was missing. So we got the photographs, and we examined them, studied them, measured them up in detail, and then copied them as closely as we could with the appropriate limestone trim and the slate roof and everything we could do to make it as we saw it in the pictures.
With the exterior restored to its original appearance, the firemen began the first element of the museum, a memorial to their fallen brothers.
The concept is that all the souls or spirits of the firefighters are gathering to the center, to a piece of art. And then at the top of this stone column is the mythical bird, the phoenix, gathering the spirits, the souls of the firefighters, and raising to the heavens. In fact, when I leave, I think that will be the most important thing I've been involved in.
With an added understanding of the importance of their project, Tom and the others took the restoration inside the decrepit firehouse.
There was a stairway placed right here, and when that was torn out, so when they tore it out, the floor started collapsing. It was dropped probably a good 2 to 3 feet. And then we came back in and patched in the beadboard, trying to use as much of the old beadboard as we could find in other places of the building. The ceiling kind of stripped itself almost. Don't get me wrong, it was nasty. We still had to scrape it off, but it came off pretty easy because of the elements over the years.
The restored beadboard now looks down on what the firefighters call the apparatus exhibit of the museum. It houses all of the city's historic fire engines. In this same room is also one item the firemen deem essential to the museum.
One of the most important projects in the firehouse is you have to have a fire pole. So we found this one from an old firehouse, brought it in here. When we got it here, we had had paint and tarnish on it. We spent about 6 hours, about a dozen of us one day, one Saturday morning, just stripping it down and cleaning it up. After that, after we got all the tarnish off it, we saw this little dent right here. One of the retirees told us that's how they called everybody to dinner in the good old days.
The local firemen were doing a great job of preserving their colorful past, but wanted to make sure the future was taken care of too. Before completing the restoration, they turned one room of the museum into a place where school children could learn about fire safety during a mock fire.
We'll go back our second way out, which should be our
window.
We give them the Learn Not to Burn curriculum, the national curriculum. Then you take the children upstairs and get them to make decisions. Teach them how to make the right decisions. This rooms smoke up, and the children have to make decisions as if it was a real emergency. And there's firefighters there, and the lights are down, but we're there to make sure it's not a negative experience. In fact, we have several documented escapes because of what they learned to survive alive. You know, and what's that worth? It's worth all the money in the world.
The restoration of the oldest remaining firehouse in Indianapolis, Old Station Number 2, only took 2 years. but its benefits will last far into the future.
And looking back now, I'm very proud to have been a part of this restoration and to support this project.
Our motto is preserving the past, protecting the future. And that's truly what we're doing here. Every day we protect the future. We protect families, the property and children, and that's what we love to do. But also it's important that we preserve our past, especially now. A lot of technological changes have occurred in the fire service, and we as an organization embrace those. We really want to grab onto that because that protects our members. But at the same time, we don't want to lose the tradition of the fire service, and this is one of those things we have to keep reminding us of our roots and where we came from.